News at 10 starts now.
Well, good evening. We're tracking a weather impact alert as the hottest temperatures of the year are on tap for the valley this weekend. Thanks for joining us tonight for 12 News at 10. I'm Mark Curtis.
And I'm Kariba Devine. An extreme heat warning is in effect tonight, and it will stick around all weekend. Let's get straight to meteorologist Lindsay Riley. And Lindsay, how hot is it going to get?
Well, we're talking 116 to 118 over the next 2 days. That's when the heat is going to peak. Even today turned out to be the hottest day of the year so far, but we're going to capitalize on that over the next couple days. We hit 114 today. In fact, our 10 p.m. temperature at 106, that is our average high for the daytime hours. That's happening at 10:02 at night. So we were just 1 degree shy of a record today. The record was 115. So we have this extreme heat warning that continues through the weekend. It continues through Monday for western Arizona, and then through the weekend here. Temperatures as hot as 118, and we're not even going to see relief during the morning hours as our lows are going to stay in the mid 90s. Sunrise time is at 5:35 tomorrow. Check this out, 94 degrees at 6 a.m. and by 9 a.m. already, we're already at 101 degrees. So extreme heat, near record heat. In fact, tomorrow we're tying a record that was set back in 2023 at 116. Then on Saturday, when the heat peaks, we reach 118, which is within 1 degree of a record high. So the heat is peaking over the next couple days. We start off in the 90s. That's going to be brief. By lunchtime, it's 108, and we'll hit 116 tomorrow around 4 p.m. Kariba.
All right, Lindsay, thank you. And with this extreme heat warning, just a reminder that hiking trails on Camelback Mountain, Piestewa Peak, and some trails on South Mountain will be closed from 8 a.m. until 5 p.m. If you do decide to hike before or after the closure, the city wants to remind you to wear proper shoes, a hat, and sunscreen. And of course, bring plenty of water. And if you start feeling sick or faint, just turn around.
It's one of the last places that you would want to be during a monsoon storm. A group of rafters in the Grand Canyon hit hard by rain and hail while they were out on the water. Tonight, 12 News journalist Chase Golightly is talking with two people who were on that raft. And Chase, boy, do they have a story to tell.
Mark, absolutely. They told me it felt like a typical monsoon storm we would see here in the valley times 100. Thankfully, everyone made it out okay. But it is a warning of what can happen while traveling through the Grand Canyon.
Because it was just chaotic, because no one knew what was going on.
It's a trip Nathan King and Steve Humble will never forget.
We were just in this absolute torrential downpour where we couldn't even see.
Both live in the valley and were invited by a friend to go rafting down the Colorado River in the Grand Canyon.
Once in a lifetime opportunity.
It was a 6-day journey, seeing one of the 7 natural wonders of the world.
It was way beyond what I thought it would be. It was amazing.
Even the photos that we took can't do it justice.
They also experienced the potential dangers.
There'd be like a 7-foot drop in the rapids.
Along with tarantulas, bats, rattlesnakes.
It's perilous if you don't know what you're doing.
Not to mention the weather.
Much more fickle than I anticipated. Like, it would be hot and then it would rain and hot and rain. And every day I feel like it rained on us 2 or 3 times.
They were about halfway through their trip when all of a sudden the thunder rolled in.
It felt like the world was coming to an end, you know, like it was so impressively loud.
Then came the heavy rain, strong winds, and hail.
So much wind. The wind went from like 0 miles an hour to like 100 miles an hour. And so you couldn't even see. So you couldn't even really like tell what was happening. Everybody was just hunkering. One of my friends found a 5-gallon bucket and put it over his head to kind of protect himself.
Worried about how long they could last.
People getting very cold, potential hypothermia.
And the hail actually hurt a little bit. I think most of us on the boat were like, I hope this doesn't last all night because this is gonna really be painful.
They said the captain was able to pull the raft over to the side as they waited. After about 5 minutes, the chaos was over. The view after, just as breathtaking.
It was a bit of an emotional moment. Like we all just kind of shared this like magical moment where all these waterfalls were coming down. I don't think any of us will forget it.
Thankfully, no one was injured, but after what they all went through, they learned firsthand just how dangerous the Grand Canyon can become.
My number one thing is go with someone who has experience and follow their advice, because they know well enough to keep you out of trouble. If you follow their advice, you'll have a good time like we did.
Both King and Humboldt tell me they do plan on doing this trip again in the future and feel a little bit better prepared. We're live in the studio. Chase Golightly, 12 News.
Yeah, that was a close call, Chase, but those views were incredible. All right, thank you so much. Well, new at 10, the Apache Trail is back open after flood waters damaged the highway last week. ADOT provided this video showing crews making emergency repairs to State Route 88 near Roosevelt Dam. Crews had to remove fallen rocks and clear blocked drains. County flood gauges show that the area received up to 8 inches of rain last weekend.
You might remember last night at this time, we were telling you about a house fire in Apache Junction. It's now being investigated as arson. Pinal County deputies say a woman called around 8 o'clock last night saying that her boyfriend had assaulted her and then set her house on fire near Meridian Drive and McKellips Boulevard. By the time crews arrived, they found multiple structures burning, including the garage. Thankfully, they were able to put the fire out. Detectives are now searching for the suspect. New tonight, a Mojave Valley man is recovering after he says a U.S. Fish and Wildlife officer fired a stun gun at him while he was pumping gas, causing him to catch fire.
Yeah, now 1 week later, he's sharing his story and says that he's still trying to understand why it happened. 12 News journalist Tiani Jadaling is joining us live in studio. And Tiani, you spoke with him about the incident.
Mark Caribe, Chuck Coyle says it started after an officer accused him and a friend of trespassing. Just minutes later, he says he was being tased while pumping gas and then caught fire. Clarence Coyle, who goes by Chuck, says everything happened in a matter of seconds. Coyle says he and a friend had plans to fish at the Havasu National Wildlife Refuge on July 16th. When they arrived at an area known as Catfish Paradise, he says they were approached by a U.S. Fish and Wildlife officer.
He goes, "You guys are trespassing. You need to leave now." I said, "Okay, fine." And he got snotty all of a sudden. And he goes, "Well, I'll give you a ticket." And I said, "Give me a ticket for trespassing." And I got in my truck because he said leave. So I got in my truck and left.
The Mojave Valley resident says the officer was in a wildlife refuge uniform, but he says the encounter didn't end there.
All I'm asking for is your license right now to identify.
What am I being arrested for?
You are not cooperating.
Before heading home, Coyle says he stopped at the Thylapo fuel station on the Fort Mojave Indian Reservation. And that's where he says he saw the same officer again.
And I come out with 2 sodas in my hand, in my wallet. And he's screaming at me, "Give me your ID, give me your ID." And I'm looking at him going, "No, what for? You know, there's no reason for me to give it unless you explain it to me."
Coyle says he had started to pump gas when this happened. He says he doesn't remember much, but for the last several days, he's been in recovery.
I have 1st and 2nd degree burns on my left hand and my right wrist and hands. I have nerve damage done to my pinky finger and ring finger. Literally thought, oh, it's going to burn to death and die. I really did.
Coyle says he was not arrested and has not been charged in connection with the incident, adding that he's now taking legal action against that officer. We did reach out to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service for a response. We have yet to hear back. Live in studio, I'm Tiani Jadaling, 12 News.
All right, Tiani, thank you. Gilbert police are searching for multiple suspects after someone threw a firework into a backyard gathering. Police say that on July 11th, 5 kids were hurt by the exploding firework near Ocotillo and Greenfield roads. Investigators say that 3 people were seen running from the area right after the explosion. They have not been identified. If you have any information about this, you're asked to call Gilbert Police Department.
New at 10, the city of Scottsdale has just completed a major renovation of the jail near 90th Street in Via Linda. After years of being closed, the Via Linda Detention Center in Scottsdale is up and running again. The reopening will allow the main Scottsdale jail in Old Town to be demolished and rebuilt. Today's event featured a tour open to the public in hopes of recruiting the next wave of detention officers.
It's extremely valuable to our citizens to be transparent. That's like pretty much the number one rule we always want to do as a police department, is not only showcasing the great work that we do, but the work behind the scenes.
The Via Linda Detention Center took about a year to renovate, while construction on the main facility is expected to last for about 2 years.
Still ahead, prosecutors say it was one of the most serious crimes in U.S. history. The man accused of killing a state lawmaker learns his fate in court. Plus, a new poll shows who Republican and Democratic voters most want to see run for president in 2028.
And in sports, football is back. Cam's breaking down the big storylines from day one of Cardinals training camp. And at 10:12, let's give you a live look over downtown Phoenix. Stay right here. 12 News at 10 is coming right back.